Welcome to episode 27 of the BBL show. I am Jay Marriott. He is Drew Lasker. It's Mothering Sunday. Happy Mother's Day to all those mamas out there. Mr. Lasker, what have you done this special day for Mrs. Lasker?
Hey, I actually feel like I should be in the hunt for husband of the year. I mean, I fed her breakfast in bed. I ordered dinner. I cleaned the house. I looked after the kids. I mean, I did the whole lot today, so I'm feeling pretty proud of myself. But, saying that, the wife deserves it. She makes this house run. So shout out to her. Your missus as well, Jay, all the moms out there. By the way, what did you do for Cass? Did you get the cooking utensils out like I asked you to?
Oh, I kept it all the same, man. I want to be right up there with you. I want to be in the good books. We're only male. We can only do so much, but we do like that look of pride that they give us when we do, something that shouldn't be extraordinary, but somehow we make it extraordinary. So, yeah, it's been a good day to celebrate the wife and other mothers out there. So, saying that, okay.
Wow.
So, Mama Lasker, welcome
Thank you.
to the
Hello.
BBL show. Hello.
Thank you. Hello. How are you?
I had to throw a little surprise in there for Mr. Lasker. It's UK Mother's Day, we know, but Drew he's practically British these days. So
Yes.
I thought it would be great to hear from Mama Lasker. So let's give you a
Thanks for
couple of
having me.
questions. No problems. Let's give you a couple of questions. So I want to know, what's the funniest story you have about Drew?
Wow.
He's always been a singer. He has always loved to sing and rap. And as a young kid, he used to always annoy his sisters, kind of like he annoys Callie now.
What was one of his favorites growing up? What did he like singing?
Uh, I think one of his favorites would be a Tupac song.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. But saying that though, I did get my singing from you. However, I cannot sing like you. I wish I
Okay.
could, but I aspire to sing like you. So I mean, you inspire me. You just didn't give
Well,
me the
thank
gene.
you.
You didn't bless me with the genes.
So look, as much as I do like making fun of Mr. Lasker on here, and we do have a good time, there's also a side of me that is a very proud friend. It's
Right.
everybody loves him. So I said it on the last show, like everybody loves this guy, but I
Yeah.
have to agree, he is a great dude. What's the thing that makes you most proud to have Mr. Lasker as your son?
The most proud he's faithful and true to whatever it is that sets his mind to do. He's a great husband and father, son, brother, and whatever it is that he says he's gonna do, he holds true to his word, and
Amen.
that makes me very proud.
I have to agree with that. Is there a little something in your eye there, Drew? Are you all right?
I'm sweating, man. You got me
Oh, you're
nervous,
sweating.
man. You got
Sorry,
me.
sorry. So look, this
You
is
caught
only a
me off
small
guard,
cameo,
man.
Drew. We got a show to shoot. This is just a small cameo. Do you have anything to say to your mum before we let her go?
Well, I thought we always keep everything 100. I was actually gonna message you after the show, but
Yeah.
this is quite a surprise. But I appreciate everything that I do. I try to make you proud, and I appreciate the example that you set for me as a kid growing up, and still now as an adult. And I love you very much, and appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. I'm very, very proud of you and all of your accomplishments. And I love you as well.
I'm glad to have brought that moment together. Something really good has come out of that. But thank you so much for jumping on. Just a little cameo. Happy UK Mother's Day to
Thank you.
you, Mama Lasker. Okay, I'll let you go. Thank you so
Okay.
much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it,
Enjoy
Mom.
your show.
All right. Good night. Thank
Good
you.
night.
Wow, Jay. That was a good one. That was a good one, man. You got me sweating in here. You got me off my game now. Wow. Yeah, of course. I see my wife behind me. Of course, I know you had something to do about it. Wow, that was a good one. That was a good one. You got me off guard.
it had to be done. So okay, right. Let's get this pod back on track. We talk BBL Trophy Finals with London Lions star and high flyer Dirk Williams. We have a little surprise for him also. This, as well as scores and top performers, Player of the Week nominees, the Lasker look back, hot topics of the week. But first, your social media spy, the Marriott Minute. Okay, intrigued me. Let's start with league news. Not yet confirmed by Manchester Giants, but breaking news on social media is that they had offered coach Lloyd Gardner, ex-London City Royals coach, the hot seat left open by coach Danny Byrne. Bad news in the Cheshire Phoenix camp. Sahil Mulyam is out indefinitely, returning home to recover from a shoulder injury. The Energizer Bunny off the bench will surely be sorely missed. London Lions feeling the heat with another social media gaffe, showing the ultimate disrespect to opponents Glasgow Rocks in the BBL trophy by referring to them as the other team. Something myself and Drew will discuss later. Charnwood College, Leicester Riders Academy alum Sesson Russell had himself a monster game for Florida Tech University, having himself a triple-double, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 11 assists, playing for BBL legend coach Billy Mims, part of that golden 90s era here in the UK. Great job, Sesson. Bristol Flyers announce a really important partnership with Paranemo, a mental health support system that will see the Flyers do a Wellbeing Wednesday segment. The damage this pandemic has done, we can all do with a mental health checkup as we move forward to make sure we are staying mentally fresh in a hugely challenging time. Great job, Flyers. Okay, engage me. Dave Owen Basketball, a great guy, gives us a lot of love on social media. He does so much for British basketball. He gets a double mention from me this week. So starting with his commitment to the WBBL, following our International Women's Day promotion, Dave brings us the WBBL feature to his site, putting him on a par with his already great BBL offer. I think this is a huge move for the women's game, and it's a must. Also, he is now looking to secure some edits and graphics to help him complete a documentary of an iconic British player. The mystery is intriguing, and any listeners out there that can help him, please get in touch. High Tea Hoops, it's been a while, and we were due a catch up with the Duke and Duchess. Their surprise at Ashley Hamilton only having starting to play at 15. Welcome to the UK, guys, especially in that era. We were all around that age, and hopefully now that stat is a lot lower, but no shock on my face that he was 15. Stato Dan Routledge with an interesting statistic that there is a notable dip in three-pointers so far this season, down from 47 to 48 per game to 42. A great stat, and we'll talk about this also later on in the show. Lastly, shout out to James Piper for his creation of the BBL show basketball jersey. Super nice touch. He's created quite a few for other podcasters and influencers. Check him out. A very talented guy. Amused me. Okay, let's get down to some fun here. Jamal Anderson and Lewis Sayers having a lot of fun with good friend Josh Wilshire with their fun scouting report. No secret in this league that he is very left-handed, so you need to check it out. Good banter, as they say. Niall Gray is a man who likes a little humour and has enjoyed making fun of my old mic. All in good fun and humour, I might say. But finally this week, I've been able to get revenge as mic issues plagued him throughout the trophy semi-final second leg. Raise your game, Niall. Great fun. Joel Osborne of Bristol Flyers is doing great things with TikTok, giving us a behind the scenes of his role, stating that the most important part was the Haribo pinball sweets. And I had to argue this as I went with the Sour Patch Kids. Let me know what you think, and more importantly, get in the conversation of what's your favorite sweets. That's candy to you, Drew. Let's start our week with one more filling in the name of sugary goodness. And that wraps up this week's Marriott Minute. I'm always watching.
And great minute as usual, Jay. And by the way, I love the now Gray is getting called out because, that guy, he never cuts us any slack on the show. On social media, he's holding us to a very high standard. So take that, Mr. Now Gray.
He does. I love him, though. He's great fun.
Absolutely. But moving along to BBL action and standout ballers of the week, we begin on Wednesday, trophy semifinals second leg in Glasgow, where the Lions travel up in a chartered plane. Some guy named Jay-Z once said, "We don't call it the airport, we call it the Clearport." The investment paid great dividends as Lions all over rocks, 108-89. London on to win the semifinals by a total of 43 points, which according to Dan Routledge is the 8th largest aggregate in BBL history. Our guest Dirk Williams with 26 points and 5 rebounds. On to Friday, Cheshire make the long trip down to the Southwest where they edge the Flyers 81-75. Karan Ross remains hot with 25 points and 5 assists. In the nation's capital, Lions feeling confident and fresh after that return trip home privately, where they easily handled Sam Cassell Jr. and his Manchester Giants 105-81. Kevin Ware with the momentum from Glasgow finishes with 24 points, going 9 for 10 from the field. Down in Plymouth, where the Lions were glued into this one to see who their opponent might be as the Raiders hosted Surrey in the first leg of the trophy semifinals. Plymouth, without a loss since January, edges the Scorchers 96-89. Ricky McGill with 31 points, 3 rebounds. In Sheffield, where the Wolves take their 4-game winning streak, Jordan Ratino puts the Sharks up by 1 with 7 seconds remaining. But Lamar Kimball does it again in the dying seconds, knocking out the Sharks to make it 5 in a row, 75-74. Marty B finishes with 14 points and 8 assists. We wrap up Friday night on Sky Sports where the Eagles host the Riders in the newly named Virtue Motors Arena as they bought the naming rights. As they had a little extra change in the kitty after turning over $3 billion in 2020. The razzmatazz didn't help as the Riders win comfortably 99-73. MVP favorite Gino Crandell finished with 15 points and 10 assists. Leicester Riders with their biggest win over the Eagles in the Northeast since 1991, winning 99-73. BBL action picks back up on Mother's Day with a 5-game slate. Plymouth head down to Surrey with a 7-point lead for the second leg of the trophy semifinals. Raiders again with no Ashley Hamilton, but no problem as Ricky McGill picked up the slack with 32 points and 4 assists as they easily handled the Scorchers, winning 112-83, Plymouth making their 6th final in the British Basketball League. Sheffield, Bristol down at Ponds Forge. Sharks up big early, as much as 24 points until the Flyers rallied back to close the gap to 1 point before the Sharks sealed the deal, holding on 82-79. Hemsley finished off the day with 16 points, 9 rebounds. Winning 7 out of their last 10, the Cheshire Phoenix host the Giants and company, where they keep rolling, winning another close game down the stretch, 77-75. Like Jay mentioned in his Twitter post-game analysis, Matthew Bryant has brought a little magic down to Cheshire Oaks. Mike McCall Jr. finishes with 25 points and 6 rebounds. We shift to Scotland, where the Rocks desperately needing to get a win to get back on track. But the informed Wolves bring their 5-game winning streak to town. But the Rocks controlled this game from the jump, picks up an upset over Worcester, 88-81. Dell finishes with 27 points and 10 rebounds. We cap off the weekend at Morningside Arena with league implications on the line. And the Riders, in a huge defensive effort, holds the Lions to 73 points to cap off a great weekend. You guessed it, Gino Crandell finishes with 12 points, 8 rebounds, 12 assists. What can this guy not do? And that wraps up this week's League's action.
And great stuff, Mr. Lasker. Let's move on to our Player of the Week nominees. We've got two newbies in here today, starting with Plymouth Raiders, Ricky McGill, putting up 32 points, 2 assists, 4 steals on a 32 index. Also, newbie Glasgow Rocks, Ronald Delph, went crazy, 27 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists for a 33 index. And then our defending Player of the Week, Cheshire Phoenix, Karon Ross, in there with 25 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists for a 29 index.
Balling.
Let's kick back, close our eyes, and relax into the velvety tones of the Lasker Look Back.
In this episode of the Lasker Look Back, we shift to the trophy finals held on Sunday, March 21st in Worcester. This time last year, my Newcastle Eagles were lifting the trophy up in Glasgow, celebrating in the stands with fans, taking shots on the bus, partying into the wee hours back at a Newcastle nightclub. You know, following the same protocol as the previous 25 times. But who would have thought that would be our last time living to what we consider as normal, as the very next day the UK would go into lockdown and the world would never be the same. With the world still trying to live with this virus a year later and what feels like we're no closer to some sort of normality, playing in empty arenas has become our new normal. Better yet, playing in prestigious events that are usually held at the NIA in Birmingham, Emirates Arena in Glasgow, in the O2 Arena in London, as this season's finals has been relegated to Morningside Arena and Worcester University Arena. But the show must go on, and I won't cry you a river, because it could be a lot worse, like not playing at all. So we are truly blessed just to play. A lot of credit has to go to the DCMS and the owners around the league for biting the bullet until the money came in. This trophy final sees a very exciting London Lions take on a very hot Plymouth Raiders team, in a competition which hasn't been frequent often by both teams, with London being runners-up in 2019 and Plymouth's only trophy to date coming in 2007. In this one-off juicy matchup featuring two teams with heavy expectations, it's a must-win for both clubs. So grab your popcorn and turn on your televisions to Sky, because you will not be able to witness this in person because of this damn pandemic. And that is your Lasker Look Back.
Man, that's a great lead into our guest, London Lions starman, fresh off making a second final of the season appearance. Let's get him in the room. Dirk Williams. Welcome to the show, Dirk. Appreciate you joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Dirk Williams, Mr. ESPN. Welcome to the show, my dude.
So let's jump in with the congratulations for making your second final this season. Are you feeling pressure as a team to put silverware on the table at the minute?
I think for us right now, we're just trying to take it one step at a time. I mean, for sure, you know, making it to this final is very important to us. You know, a lot of guys want to win. You know, when we played in the last final, you know, we had almost half the team missing. So a lot of guys are going to be excited to want to play in this one. So I think I don't really feel like too much pressure, but I definitely feel like, you know, guys are going to want to win some silverware this year for sure.
Yeah, with obviously like being unfortunate circumstances around the first final, you know, as a group, is there kind of like a road to redemption type feeling for this one?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, especially for, you know, those guys that were out due to COVID, you know, those guys are going to be pumped up, excited, ready to play. So, you know, I think it's going to be, you know, a different type of atmosphere because, you know, we're going to be at full strength. So I think, you know, we'll be playing our normal positions this time. So I think, you know, I think those guys are going to be a lot more pumped up about this one for sure.
Yeah, poetic justice, I like to call it. But last episode, we had your assistant coach on here, Andrea Borland, for International Women's Day, and she made it very clear what the goals are for the London Lions. So obviously, there's no question about it. You guys got the biggest budget in the league. And by the way, I see you guys flying private. Like, jeez. So
Yeah.
so with all of that, what would be considered a successful season for the London Lions this year?
Successful, I think, for what Vince and, the coaches want this year, they definitely want to try and win out everything, everything else that's up for grabs. So I think, we're gonna try to work hard to win the trophy, try to work hard to win a championship, and try to work hard to win playoffs. I think that's gonna be the most successful thing for those guys for sure.
Yeah, I like the sound of it. But obviously, Sunday is a big day here in the UK. And on the BBL show, we always like to make room for important dates on the calendar. So, Dirk, I know this is your episode, but if you're okay, we want to make a little room for a special guest that we have in the house today.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah.
Hello.
We're connected. Welcome to the
Uh,
show,
You
Mama
recognize that voice?
Frizzle. We got any camera action going on?
Yeah. Hey, handsome.
Hey, Ma, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. It's just a surprise for sure.
I love it. So look, it's a big UK day on Sunday, which is Mother's Day. So
Mhm.
different to the US, but why can't we have a double day just for your mom? So yeah, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I'm glad she's here.
Thank you.
It's
Thought we'd
crazy.
make
I
it a
was
little
just talking to
special
her
for you.
yesterday too. Didn't even know this was gonna happen.
Welcome to the show, Mama Frizzle.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, so Mama Frizzle, you must be really proud of Dirk. So, not just for his achievements as a basketball player, but also the way he carries himself. But here at the
Yeah.
show, we want the listeners to get to know the character of the man off the court. So, are there any stories you can share for us that give us that sense of the real Dirk? So, something fun or prominent in his upbringing, let us know.
And
Well, I
we
will
need
say,
we need that exclusive, Mama Frizzle. Don't hold back.
well, I will say this. From the very first time I put a ball in his hand at 4, I knew that he was going to be great. But his very first organized game, he grabbed the ball was inbounded to him. He tucked it up under his arm, put his arm out and took out like he was running for a touchdown instead of, trying to go for a basket. He's always loved this game. And there was times, when he was a little boy, we didn't have cell phones, or it wasn't prominent for children to have cell phones. But I could go in any gym within a 10-mile radius of my home and I'd find him playing basketball somewhere. So he's always loved it. He don't like to lose, but we practiced sportsmanship and teamwork, and he's just always been a very humble young man. So yes, I am extremely proud of him. Yeah.
And I love that. Dirk, you got anything to add to that?
I mean, from what she said, that's pretty much me. I'm pretty laid back for the most part. I definitely do remember those times, when I was young, where I was a beginner at basketball. I remember those times where I lost some games and I'd just be crying because I'm upset. And she'd give me those good talks and stuff like that. So I was definitely a competitive person growing up, for sure. But I've definitely, over the years learned how to be humble. Just be a good teammate, be coachable and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, Mama Frizzle, quick question for you. Like, do you find it hard with Dirk being kind of so far away?
I do. I miss him. I really do. But, as a mom, I'm so proud of him. I remember the look on his face when he got ready to leave to go and be a Shark. He was terrified. I was too, but he sucked it up. He went on, and look at him now. Sometimes challenges will make you scared to do something, and he was afraid, but he went. And I can't say enough of how proud I am of him for that. So, conquer your fears.
That's great. That's so great to hear. Hey, listen, Mama Frizzle, thank you so much for just jumping on for this little cameo. Happy UK Mother's Day. So,
Yes.
you know, look, from now on, you can celebrate it twice. That means that Dirk's going to have to get a little change in his pocket and get those cards twice a year, and those flowers and the
Yeah.
chocolates. Let's go all out for it. But look, thank you so much for coming on the show for us. And we'll,
Thank you, and happy Mother's Day to all the moms. And DJ, you make sure you show James a good time.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
I love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank
All
you
right.
so much.
We'll speak
Bye,
to you
guys.
again. Thanks a
Bye.
lot. Bye. Sorry, we had to get you a little something right there, you know. So
That was interesting right there. I was wondering like who it was, and then boom, I saw a name pop up. I was like, oh.
he was like, yeah, that's okay. I was like, we got to make room. He's like, yeah, that's okay. That's so fun. That's fine.
yeah, I love that. That's so humble, you know, just very
Yeah.
relaxed. So, okay, let's kind of get back in this. We just want to add a little fun because it is Mother's Day on Sunday, so we want to recognize it somehow. And
Too right.
we thought that was a great one, and that was so nice to hear that you know, Mom agrees with what we see with you on the court. So let's rewind slightly to the recruitment process. I'm sure it was an easy sell, you know, London, so coming to the capital, playing in Europe, yes please, deep pockets, no problem. But what was Coach Vince saying to you from a role perspective that really appealed to you?
From the role perspective, you know, he brought me in. You know, he wanted me to be, you know, a key part of the scoring, and also, you know, he wanted me to just be a high intense defensive player as well. So I've tried to thrive on just trying to play both ends the best way that I know how. So I think that's been the biggest part that I've liked about playing here. You know, he's held me accountable for, you know, some of the things that I feel like I'm pretty good at. So I think that was interesting for me.
Yeah, and where I think you really stood out is, you know, that season, your first season. No, actually, you played for Sheffield for 2 years, right?
Yeah, for 2 years.
Where you really caught my eye was the first round of the playoffs in your second year for Sheffield, where you scored 40 on us, and it was like you began to come into your own, and obviously you were able to transition and play for Hungary that following season. And so we know how much talent there is in the BBL, and fans are always curious to what is the underlying difference to the UK and the BBL. So I have a two-part question for you. So firstly, how different is the talent level, if any, from where you played? And from an infrastructure point of view, how does it differ from Sheffield and now London?
Okay. Well, you know, as far as me being in Hungary, you know, I think I made like a pretty quick impact, you know, while I played out there. I averaged around 17 points per game, and I think that was probably my highest shooting 3-point percentage year. I had shot like 47%. So me personally, I don't really think it was like too much of a difference from here and over there. I think that, you know, here is fast paced, you know, a lot of guys are athletic, you know, grit and grind guards, you know, the bigs, they play hard. So I don't really think it's too much of a difference from where I played in Hungary. Talent wise, I think it's really about the same as here, really, honestly. I think, me personally, I feel like, you know, a lot of people in Europe are actually sleep on the BBL. I think the BBL is a lot more competitive than what a lot of people try and make it seem, for sure.
Whilst it's just, sorry to interrupt, but like whilst it's fresh in my mind as well, I want to ask you a question. I spoke to Coach Vince about it, and he recognized it. It's really unusual when you find like an athlete of your stature. I mean, a guy that's really genuinely jumping out the building, like Drew said, Mr. ESPN, that can also shoot.
Yeah.
So how is that correlated? How has that come about? Because that is such a rare. Those two skills are such a rare thing to put together, and a dangerous one too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, the athleticism is what came to me late. I think I started to really focus on my athleticism once I got to college, especially when I got to UAB. You know, they were teaching me all like the proper ways to jump, vertical jumps and stuff like that. So once I got there, that's when the athletic ability started to take place. But from young, I had always been a shooter. You know, my mom, you know, that we had just talked to, she was a shooter when she played. So she always had me in the gym shooting. So that was probably one of my favorite things doing growing up. Yeah. So the difference between the Sharks and the Lions, I can't really like tell too many differences, honestly. I think, you know, both organizations are very like family family oriented. You know, they really try to look out for their players the best way that they know how and the best way they can with, you know, with the funding and stuff that they got. So me personally, I think you know, both clubs, you know, they run their clubs the best way they can. I think there are probably some difference in maybe like traveling and stuff like that for sure, that we had at the Sharks than what I have here. I know some bus drives are a lot further from here than that how it was at the Sharks. The Sharks kind of felt like they were just in the middle of a lot of clubs. So I didn't really think the drives were too far from Sheffield.
Yeah, you got lucky there. You're pretty central, so that's for sure. So some people feel that you are an MVP front runner. You said yourself earlier in the season that you were excited to show the fans how much better you are. What have been the factors in this next step as far as, you know, exciting import at Sheffield Sharks, but now to one of, if not the star of this stacked London Lions team?
You know, I'm not, you know, I have thought about it a few times, but I'm trying to just, you know, just be humble and, you know, just try and be a team player. You know, right now I'm just trying to focus and just do what I can to help the team win. You know, I think, you know, when I was younger playing for the Sharks and stuff, I tried to think about the individual accolades a little bit too much. So I think now I just want to just try and worry about like trying to just see what I can do for the team and help the team win. You know, and maybe like, you know, the more I continue to do that, maybe, you know, the results of that type of stuff will actually be known and noticed.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think to kind of focus on that, what you said about Coach Vince saying that he needs you to be a scorer, I want to talk about DeAndre Liggins a little bit. So, you know, Coach Vince talked about when he came on here that DeAndre like really had to find that leadership role, like that role that he felt comfortable with. And initially, when he was speaking to Coach Vince, he thought that Vince was saying you got to go out, you know, and go ahead and get 30 every night. And that's not what he wants to do. You know, like he's about winning, and he's right across the board as a stat line, which I think complements you really well because I think it allows you to relax and he can find you and you can be the guy that sets the tempo. What's it been like working with him on a daily basis?
It's been pretty fun so far. I mean, at the beginning of the season, you know, we were still trying to figure each other out, still trying to learn each other. But I think, you know, as the years went on, I think our chemistry and our relationship is built, you know, a bit more. He's a very good dude to talk to. I've learned a lot of, especially on the defensive end, I've learned a lot from him. You know, how he just has a knack for stealing the basketball, getting in the passing lanes and stuff like that. So it's been kind of cool to just talk defensively with him on a lot of stuff and not just offensively. I think that's been the biggest thing for me. But you know, for the most part, you know, Liggins has been a good teammate. You know, he tries to find guys on the court. So yeah, I think for the most part, it's been cool. I think our relationship is starting to grow.
I'd say that you guys probably look your most dangerous when you play that way as well, you know, letting your defense lead into your offense.
Sparking the offense, yeah, for sure.
You know, and for Liggins, you know, of course, he's a great defensive player and he does have a knack, but it always helps when you've got like an 8-foot wingspan and your knuckles are dragging on the floor. You know, he's got arms for days.
Yeah,
I know
Dirk has long arms as well. So actually, he's a great guy for you to kind of you know, pick your defense after because you have the same kind of attributes. He might be a little bit taller than you, but you have long arms as well. And I can see you becoming a defensive pest like that as well.
Yeah, it's been interesting, you know, especially at practice, you know, the times where we're matching up against each other. You know, sometimes it does get high intense and, you know, me and him are both just, you know, having a knack for each other on the basketball, you know, pressuring each other. So I think for the most part, you know, definitely we push each other to try and get better.
That's great. That's what you want. Iron sharpens iron, isn't it? You know, so let's kind of refocus on this trophy final a little bit. So, you know, what did you learn from the cup final loss that you will take into this final? So we are still in this pandemic. So there's still a real threat that it could try and gate crash into the final. But do you need to be ready for anything else, or are these specifics are there any specifics that you took from the game, or was it just the pandemic you felt upset your rhythm?
I think, of course, the pandemic, we definitely have to learn from that and try to be safe, try and stay isolated the best way we can. And, just try and stay healthy with that part. But for me personally, with that game, I just think probably like during certain times of the game, I think maybe being a bit more poised. I think, I was too excited about the championship, stuff like that. So I felt like sometimes during the game, I feel like I was moving around 100 miles per hour. So maybe like this game, I want to try and be more poised, relaxed, and, just play basketball.
Yeah, that's why they say experience is the best teacher. But one thing that I
Mhm.
will say I was really impressed with you guys was you guys came out of that cup final with, I mean, obviously we respect you guys to the ultimate level, but I think for me personally, it went up a notch just because you guys show so much character. You guys could have easily just laid down and just said, poor me. We don't have our full team and just show up and make numbers. But you guys, you guys competed. I mean, what was the
Mhm.
mindset? Did you guys come into the game thinking we can actually win this? Or was it more like, let's just play hard and see what happens?
Um, I think it was actually a mixture of both. We had some guys, just coming in. They just said like, whether we gonna play or not, I want to play. I do feel like we have a chance to win this game. So let's just go out there and play hard. So I think that's why it's just a mixture of both. Guys wanting to actually play hard and wanting to win. And some guys actually felt like we had the confidence to actually go out there and win. And I think for the most part, we tried our best to show that, even though some certain guys are playing a bit out of position, but I think for the most part, we tried our best to show what we could do, no matter who we had on the floor.
Yeah. I mean, you guys did. And, looking at this season, obviously the three teams with yourself, Leicester Riders, and Newcastle Eagles, I think it's fair to say that us three will be judged solely on silverware. For you guys, do you think winning on Sunday will take just a little bit of that pressure off of having to win the league? Because when you think about the league, although you guys are favorites, I mean, it's a lot of factors, right? I mean, COVID can come and knock you guys out for 2 weeks and you drop 3 or 4 games. So do you think it'll take a little bit of pressure off by winning on Sunday?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think we are already behind a few games right now, so I think getting a chance to play. I think we have actually a game tomorrow as well, and then we have the one Sunday. So I think it's actually a time for us to get a rhythm going, get a run going, a late run. I think especially beating Leicester, they're the top team in the league, so that'll
Mhm.
actually give us a bit more confidence to want to push for a run.
Yeah. I mean, when I meant Sunday, I meant I was thinking of
Oh,
when we dropped this. I meant actually the
yeah.
trophy
Sorry,
final.
sorry.
My bad.
Okay,
Sorry.
all
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Now I was speaking
Both
on
worked.
Sunday when you guys play
Yeah.
Plymouth, but by the time this podcast drops, you guys will know who your opponent will be going into the 21st. And I think it's fair to say for me and Jay, are we betting on Plymouth to be a shoe in, Jay? Are we saying Plymouth?
Well, I
Nah,
Here
mean,
live on the pod.
I could expect
I
it.
will go for Plymouth. Sorry, Dirk. Like I love the
Mm,
Lions, but Plymouth is my
yeah.
hometown. That's where my heart is. But Drew,
Mm.
you're going. Plymouth is
I'm
with you as well. Or?
I'm no, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it for the special podcast. But regardless of the opponent, Dirk, you guys will obviously well for you in particular. You'll be focused on winning your first piece of silverware. But if I'm a betting man, would you say my odds are great to put you in for the MVP?
You right?
No, you.
Me being
Putting my
MVP
money on
Yeah.
you to be the MVP
Is
of
that
the
safe
trophy
money? Is that
final.
house money right
of
there?
the trophy final. I guess we just have to see how it goes. I don't really know. Like it just depends on who we're playing and how the game goes. I mean, it could be, it could be a good night for me. I feel like I am one of those guys that could fill up the stat sheets, at any time. So, it definitely could happen for sure.
Would you prefer to have out of Plymouth and Surrey? Might be a silly question, but have you got
Um,
your eye on that, and you're hoping that a certain team slips up, or you don't mind?
I'm expecting Plymouth to definitely be the team in the finals. I mean, it would be. I think it probably would be good. I can't sleep on neither team. Both teams. Surrey just took us. We only beat them by one, so we can't like just push them aside as well. Like they're not going to be a solid team too. So I think either way, I think both teams are definitely going to give us, their best game. So, but I definitely expect Plymouth for sure to be the team.
I don't want to be I don't want to be hard on Surrey, but I think that they've had a difficult season, that they've done a great job to turn it around. So I think Plymouth would deserve to be there in my eyes. That might sound a little bit biased, but I think they deserve to be there. And I think from a matchup perspective in the final, I would like to see that. Although when you look at Surrey, the hype around Cam obviously would bring a maybe a bigger prize to the final. So we shall see. But look, finally, I have quite an interesting question for you to finish with. So I'm looking at a couple of points of view here, and I want to get your thoughts. So you and within the camp. So the London Lions as a collective have had some mixed reviews on social media. So there's been this feeling of leading the league into a new era, raising the bar, excitement of players, excitement of Europe. And then there has been this kind of random social media gaps, whether it be like the players or whether it be the actual Lions site itself, that have kind of turned the fans against you at times. So having seen the cool video a while back of the whole Avengers thing when you were about to play the Riders and you had the Riders cast as Thanos, etc., etc. I think this is going to be a great question for Captain Joe, by the way. I think he's going to geek out on this. But for you, as the BBL, do you feel like you are the heroes or the villains?
I mean, I feel like some people may view us as villains, but I think that's just because of how our accounts or our social media accounts can be run sometimes. I've seen it for myself. But for me, it's like that's some of that stuff's a bit out of our control. We're not the ones that's posting that stuff. So I think playing wise, I do feel like we're heroes. You got guys like DeAndre Liggins that's bringing a lot of exposure. A lot more people that are going to watch because he's been an ex-NBA player and stuff like that. Even Kevin Ware as well. With his history and his past. Of him being a good player as well. And I mean, even just just the team that we built, it caught a lot of people's attention. A lot of people wanted to watch and actually see, how far can this London Lions team go. So I think in a way, I would lean more towards us being heroes more than just being villains, because I think at the end of the day, we're entertaining the fans and trying to do stuff the right way, the best way we can, playing on the floor.
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, how we're playing on the floor and what we're doing, that's really the most important thing that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think from the perspective, I think people have got to go like a little bit deeper. And I think what I've loved about on the show so we've had Coach Vince, we've had Coach Borland, and now we've had yourself coming onto the show. And I think one of the things I've loved coming from the coaching staff is all about this history. That's what I've loved about it, is they've always talked like from a humble perspective, so I love hearing you and hearing your mom saying how humble you are, but also Coach Vince, he always talks about, Brixton and Jimmy Rogers and coaches that have come into his life and given him this great advice, and Kevin Cadle and stuff like that. And I think there's just I have a real affinity for that, so I think if I'm with you, that if you look at it from social media, sometimes you're just like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But in terms of like the inner workings of it, we've had Justin Robinson on as well. And he is a great guy to be
sure.
with. Joe with the cyber nerd stuff. I love all that stuff.
Yeah. When you actually look into our inner circle, like the team and stuff, it's a lot of good guys on the team.
It's
for
really
sure, especially if people get to know guys like Liggins and those people too. Like he's quiet and stuff like that, but he's a good guy to talk to when he's talking and going. Yeah. So we got a lot of good guys on the team for sure.
That's actually a great point. You made a great point, Dirk. I actually didn't even really look at it like that, because I personally have been influenced by social media of how you guys are viewed. But when you actually look at you guys' roster, I mean, most of you guys, I mean, the team, if you look 1 through 15, everybody's cool. I mean,
yeah,
so
for sure.
you guys are cool. So it's just been.
I think for the most part, yeah.
it's been social media that's really painted that picked that villain
Mhm.
on you guys. So
Yeah. I mean, Dirk,
Yeah.
you do need to get on Kevin a little bit though, because he did stand us up earlier in the season. We don't hold it against him, but he did
Okay.
stood us up and he left us at the altar. So we'll
Okay.
you
we
know,
forgive him.
tell him from us, you know, we want him to tell his story. So,
Okay.
you know, he doesn't need to hide from us. We're nice folks here, you know.
Sorry, Tom.
We haven't asked
Okay.
you anything too horrible. But look, thanks for your time, Dirk. We appreciate you coming on, and it we say it every week, but it's so good to sort of hear people's stories and
Mhm.
you know more what's going on in their heads and their perspectives. It's great to have. So look, good luck in the final. You know, I know making the final is great, so you should be
Mhm.
proud of that. But obviously, I know
Yeah.
you guys want to go a step further. Good luck, and we'll
Good
catch
luck.
up with you later in the season.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Thanks for having me. I enjoyed the
Absolutely.
show today for sure.
Absolutely. Before we go, just a quick shout out to your Mrs. Gemma for setting us up, getting your
Yes.
mom on here. So
Oh, she did it.
Oh
she's
yeah.
the one. So you
Yeah.
got
Let's
to
clear
Oh,
that up
okay.
right now.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
So
didn't
shout
know that.
out to
I'm gonna have
Gemma.
to talk to her about that now.
Hey, and this
Didn't
is what
even
I'm
know.
saying to you about Kevin. You know, we turn people around. We know we upset you, missus, in the last final, and she kind of said we were a bit biased, but we've won her over,
We're
and now we got
friends
your
now.
mom on the show. So we're pro
Yeah.
Lions here. What's the deal? You
Yeah.
know.
For sure.
Yeah. No problem.
Thanks, Dak.
Awesome, man.
Right.
Take it easy,
All
man.
right.
See you down the
Speak to you
road.
soon.
See.
All right.
All right.
You too, mate. You too. Okay, that's a wrap for him. What I really liked about that interview, Drew, was his humble nature really did shine through there. He is confident in his own abilities, but he definitely wasn't getting carried away with any of those questions. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. We got him as well, Drew. We got him as well. So that's two mamas in the room. We got him.
Oh man.
We made it work. So that's awesome. So let's finish off with some hot topics of the week. I want to continue this conversation and get your thoughts on the London Lions social media gaffe and now battle with the Glasgow Rocks. It has the social media world split. Is this disrespectful or funny?
Interesting question. And for me, this might be a little bit controversial out to our listeners. But from my perspective, it wasn't really a big deal to me. To be honest, I mean, we live in an age. I mean, I follow the NBA, so for you guys that follow NBA social media accounts, this is what they do. They stick one another up all the time, team after team, NFL, NBA. I see it all the time. So when I saw everyone, on social media channels going off about the disrespect, I could see that angle. But for me, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I think people are being a little bit of sensitive, maybe because it comes from London and they've had a history of kind of being a little bit blunt, disrespectful on their social channels. But maybe if this comes from Leicester Riders or Bristol Flyers, people probably take it with a grain of salt and don't take it so serious. But for me, I didn't really see it as that big of a deal, to be honest.
Yeah, I think I'm a bit of a fence sitter with this, if I'm honest, because there's something like super old school about me and the way the social media runs. And I think that yes, you should have good fun, but I think that there's a line for me, and I look at it at slightly different way. So rather than getting into this whole disrespectful battle, like I look at it as in potential sponsors, etc., etc. And it's all about kind of you got to have a good in anything at the moment. It's not just the club accounts, but for anyone that's going to mess around with social media, you've got to feel the temperature out for what you're going to do. I do agree with what you're saying. Is that I think that um, it's being taken wrong before it even almost comes out because it is the Lions. But then there's a part of me, maybe unusually going in slightly. I don't really do that here on the show, but I do think that obviously they've had this increased influx in finances, and I think you can tell that they haven't put it into marketing and comms the way that perhaps that they should. And I think that it's maybe an underrated tool by the Lions at the moment into opening up that London market. If you're struggling with that London market, I think you've got to look around and see those teams that are doing it the right way and doing it the best, and then and emulate that or beat it. And at the moment, it just seems just seems a little bit amateurish, a little bit cowboy at times, and also the just reading between the lines that the Lions fans, they wanted to see more. So I thought going into Europe, we would see the little documentaries. We saw it with Rob P the other day. That's fantastic. That's what we want.
Awesome. Unbelievable.
How have we not got that of Vince traveling and him going through the kind of ups and downs of that European? You got an NBA player, you got Liggins right there. Why haven't we explored kind of those conversations, like what it's like playing the NBA, what it's like living in London? So, yeah, I very much sit on the fence.
Well, we saw that early in the season, and I actually thought more was coming. Although, you and I was included in that first episode, and I tipped my hats off to him. I said, you know what, this is actually awesome how they fed in some of the BBL show
Yeah.
audio into some of that coverage, and if that, I think that's what the fans wanted. They wanted to see that type of stuff consistently, and it would have been great for a team who's successful, who's looking to have a bright future. And I think they kind of missed the boat on that this season. But I will say, if you're going to give it out, you better be able to take it.
Yeah, and I mean, look at Dirk's reaction as well when we were asking him. I asked him that little hero villain question. He alluded himself to the fact that he felt like social media is not necessarily portraying them the right way. I think they got some great stories in that camp. We've explored it with Coach Andrea. Like that, there's a lot to explore in that story. Coach Vince's story, super interesting. The whole Brixton heritage there that they continue to talk about. I think that would have been a great thing to explore. Players there, Joe, Cyber Nerds, Justin Robinson's, a great person. We had him on the show. So I think there's a lot more you can do, but you don't know behind the scenes, are these guys, who are these guys? Are they full time? If they're full time, I'm criticizing them. If they're, just part time or doing it for the love, then apologies, guys, because maybe you're doing the best that you can and you're fitting it in around other things that you're doing. But I just think if you come into these things, you have to put a lot of money into the marketing and comms, because that's what's going to take your club forward. And maybe they got so much finance, they don't need to worry about bringing it in elsewhere. So let's see.
We can use a few dollars here on the BBL show if you don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean,
Think ahead, fellas.
if your investors are listening, we got a Patreon, so you can feed in there. Just get the Premier account. You get 4 mystery box clothing, merch items. It's all the stuff that you want. But moving on. Lastly, I want your feelings on the Dan Routledge stat of the league being down on 3-pointers per game. Is this a trend or just a coincidence?
Yeah, actually, I mean, before I saw that stat, it's not that I noticed that less threes were being taken. One stat that was mentioned to me earlier in the season that Coach Mack had mentioned, that the 3-point percentage across the league was down, which that didn't surprise me at all when you think about the preparation going into this season. I just think about my own preparation. It just wasn't the same, especially for guys here in the UK. We didn't have access to facilities. So guys didn't get that much opportunity to work on their games. I know the guys in the States did because, things were a little bit more open than they were here. But I do realize a couple of key points that, it seems like most teams have this 2-headed guarded monster. When you have Fletch and Cortez, you got Connor Washington and Gino. I mean, across the league, the Phoenix boys. And so with that, you got speed in the backcourt, and teams are taking advantage of it. They're coming off a lot of ball screens. I mean, not of ball screens, but just handoffs, DHOs, as we call ball screens, and they're getting downhill in a hurry. Taking more of that pull-up jumper, that float game, which guys are really expanding their game. 10 years ago, it wasn't many guys that can make an 8-foot floater. And it seems like, 2 or 3 guys on every team can make that shot consistently, which is a tough shot, by the way. And so guys, teams are taking advantage of that, getting in the paint. And then one other thing that I noticed is that we thought that the game was moving forward and getting away from the big, but let's look at the rosters. I think Maxwell, if I'm not mistaken, might be our leading scorer. You see Jimbo Law, you see NBA at Cheshire. Nelson Henry was just the BBL show player of the week. And I can go on. Delph is in the running for player of the week. So I think there's been a resurgence in the bigs, and we have a lot of quality bigs in the league this year. So if you mix in with the quality bigs and the mid-range floater that these guards have really mastered, I think that's eliminated the necessity to have to rely on a three, So, teams are mixing it up a lot more. And to be honest, it's harder to guard. I mean, it's easy to guard when, it becomes a make or miss game when teams are just going back and forth, launching threes. So I think it makes the game a little bit more unpredictable and more exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I like it if it is becoming a trend. You know what it's like. We were all big on the whole Houston experiment, and the 3-point shot and its worth within the league, etc., etc. But yeah, I think the mid-range game is starting to come back. But like you said, it's different now. It isn't your little head fake and one dribble, pull up, straight, perfect form kind of move anymore. It's just the game has evolved dramatically. And if you want to see how much is involved, just check out Gino Crandell's highlight reel, and you will see. I think he had another one tonight with the around the back finish, etc., etc. So like these players are just finding so many different ways to finish. Kimball's another good example. He's had 2 game winners now. What have they been? Mid-range. And something I didn't think about that you're absolutely right is that resurgence of the big, and I think if you are going to go back to mixing it up slightly from a stylistic point of view, you do need that. You do need that big. That big is going to be rather pivotal. And I don't know, maybe that Houston experiment kind of crashing the way that it did has stopped that trend being so vastly taken across the world. So we shall see if it's just a pandemic coincidence or whether it's a trend. I don't necessarily think that there's so many big knockdown shooters this year in the league that I can think of. You've got Johnson at Riders. Bratino probably is one of those guys
Dirk,
that you would classify.
Our guest today.
Dirk, exactly, which is, he's got a really unique skill set, like we said in the conversation, with his ability to shoot the three and his athletic ability. But yeah, outside of that, not that other guys can't shoot three. So I hope we're not going to get an influx of people sending us their shooting percentages. But I'm just talking, that true kind of knockdown 3-point shooter seems to not be there. It's more versatile, like you said, attack-minded guard. So we shall see. We'll keep an eye on it. I'm sure Dan Routledge will be keep us up to date with all of these things. But I thought it was just 2 things that were worth maybe having a little bit of a longer conversation about. Okay, that is it for me. I appreciate your eyes and your ears. Watch out this way. Watch out this week for some bonus trophy final creatives. Maximizing our reach on social media. We will be on Facebook before this pod launches, so give us a follow. Have a great week. Be safe. Drew, lead us out.
Have a great week, guys, and we will see you at the trophy finals live on Sky. Make sure you guys tune in. We got the women's trophy finals on before, so make sure you guys go and support that out. Continue the momentum from International Women's Day, and we're just gonna keep banging out guest after guest. We got a surprise guest coming in next week for you guys, so make sure you guys continue to support us on Patreon. For those that have already pledged, thank you. It means a lot to us, and we're just going to keep bringing that content to you guys. But till then, we'll see you next week. We signed off on the show.